In this video, we will deal with the issues of being an Ajin. We will attempt to beat the threats, which include other Ajin and humans. This guy is Nagai. He's an Ajin like you and me. The first time he realized he wasn't human was when he was killed by a truck, but woke up again immediately. Oh, and by the way, there are 46 known Ajins in this world at this moment. So what happens when you are identified as an Ajin? Well, something like this right here. Nagai has been inside this underground lab for multiple months at this point. They amputated his limbs, shot bullets into his head, and many more terrible things while he was at full conscious and alive. If you are an Ajin, you do not want to be known as one. Nagai is literally mummified. In this position, you have no space whatsoever. From what I've heard, those don't even let you sleep. They just kill you over and over and over again, day and night, with no end in sight. You are a guinea pig, material, just an experiment. Once you are in the same position like Nagai here, there is no chance to escape. In this situation, the only hope you have is to either be freed by someone else, get released voluntarily, or be able to draw an advantage if they were to make a mistake. Now you see, that's all quite heavy speculation. So, as an Ajin, you do not want to be known as one, to anyone. The issue is, most Ajins don't know that they are in fact Ajins until they die. And since most unexpected deaths are caused by external influences in humans, it is very likely that once you find out that you are one, the people around you will know that just as quick as you do. And in the age of smartphones, that's pretty bad luck for us. The only chance you have to escape this madness would be to escape as soon as you have realized that you are an Ajin. Until the special forces arrive to take you hostage, you have time to disappear. And when I say disappear, I mean disappear. Go full hermit mode is the only chance you have. Hiding at friends and family members' places is probably a bad idea since those would be screened first and put under surveillance. Initially it seems you are on your own, so there are multiple options you have. Either you decide to stay in your country and go into hiding there, or you leave it. The biggest problem with leaving the country is that you are probably caught while doing so, and leaving the country illegally via land border would cause you a lot of problems just as soon as you're screened by a random police control in the new country. Considering all of this, the best way you have would be to get a new identity, full-on new passport, new name, new hairstyle and clothing, etc. Even if you decide to stay in your own country, your goal should be a new identity. Without that, you won't be free until you die. Besides Nagai and us, there are other Ajins. You can guess their temperament. All of them were most likely treated just like Nagai. I heard some of them for 20 years without a break. Ajin or not, going through this will f*** your mental landscape. This is Sato.
Yeah.
Mr. Sato can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It really depends on you. When he knew that another Ajin was held captive and experimented on, he decided to free him. He and his team break into this underground lab, shoot down everyone in reach and attempt to free Nagai. That's gotta be one lucky day in his life. After the interaction between Sato and the head of this lab, Mr. Tosaki, it is pretty clear that he was also held captive there. In that case, this rescue act is motivated by vengeance more so than compassion. Nagai refuses to join Sato. In fact, he literally opposes him and saves those that tortured him instead. Let me give you a quick rundown of Ajin attributes. The most important thing about Ajins is their immortality. To this day, there is no identified way on how to kill one. Another key component of being an Ajin is that once you are killed, you will regenerate completely. Fractures and cut off limbs? No problem, they will all reappear quickly. So when an Ajin is being immobilized, the best thing to do for him is to kill himself, which we call a reset. The last and possibly most curious aspect of Ajins are their ghosts. Not much is known about them, but they are invisible to humans. To us, they look like composed ash or black matter. They're also called IBM. They are extremely strong and fast and possess individual skills on top of that. The only way to beat the ghost is to fight it with your own one. Nagai escapes Sato's grip and the underground lab too. Escape is your only option here, but where do you go? Before we analyze Nagai's situation, let's look at Sato's next move so you can understand the plot as well. Sato takes advantage in front of the lab and scores a live interview with various news outlets. The guy sitting in the wheelchair is Tanaka. He was Ajin subject number 2 until he was freed by Sato 2 years ago. he has a point here. What was done to them can't be justified. Ajin should be able to play a part in society without being alienated or even worse, experimented on. Nagai stumbles out of the forest through which he had escaped. It should be considered that the immediate area around the lab will be screened to find him, so staying there is a bad idea. But he gets taken in by an old lady that provides him with shelter and food for the time being. It seems like she knows that he is an Ajin but doesn't seem to care. Staying at her house is only a temporary solution. It is likely that officials will patrol this area. But if this old lady has the means to hide him and is willing to lie to the officials, then this place could become an important asset. But Nagai commits a few mistakes here. For instance, he leaves the house without taking any measurements to conceal his true identity. Apart from wearing a cap, of course. But in my opinion, this is not enough. Here's what I would do. This old lady seems to be an ally. She doesn't seem to have any interest in blowing up my cover. I would stay in there and not leave the house under any circumstances. What I need is access to a black market so I can purchase a new identity. For that, I either gain access to the dark web, or I need to leave my hideout and find someone who can help me directly. Changing your look is easy, your demeanor difficult. If you struggle with staying calm, you shouldn't hesitate to acquire some benzos. Every time you leave the house, you pop one or two and you should be as calm as a meditating kung fu master on a Chinese mountain. Nagai visits his sister and brings her back to the old lady's house. I like the idea behind it. They seem to be getting along well and she seems to be the only family member that he has. It's beautiful but a little risky. If I were any of the bad guys, putting his sister under surveillance would have been the first thing I did after his breakout. In our case here, none of that happens. Both of them make it to the old lady's house safely and stay there together for the time being. The risks involved by picking her up are clear, but after hearing the facts, it's completely justified. Because it turns out that she's ill. Also, having a crazy person like Sato out there, you don't really want to keep your sister out of your sight. All in all, I think this was a good decision. Binge Express approves. While you're trying to get your new identity to escape the country and restart somewhere new, you should train. Being an Ajin comes with a lot of new powers that is useless if you don't know how to use them. The ghost of an Ajin resembles the core personality of the host. That is why Nagai's ghost seems to be a little, well, let's call it antisocial. In any way, you would want to know exactly how your powers work and manifest. For instance, how long can you manifest your ghost? At this point, you are still trapped and searched by an army of mad scientists and a small army of demi-humans. Both want you and they are not interested in having tea and biscuits with you. If worst comes to worst, you must be prepared to fight. Meanwhile, Sato has started another attack to support his cause. The government has waited too long in coming forward with his requests, and this is the price they have to pay. He hijacked the plane and flew it into this government building. Being an Ajin, he really didn't have anything to worry about. His comrade flies in a care package via drone. Back in the days of Modern Warfare 2, I think they still used small helicopters for that. Times change, Jesus. The special forces have prepared well for this scenario though. As soon as Sato appears, he gets shut down. Every time he is about to regenerate, he gets shut down again before he can manifest. That's a very effective way to immobilize Ajin. But Sato wouldn't be Sato if he didn't calculate that too. Tanaka is positioned on a rooftop nearby. As soon as Sato gets cornered, he intervenes by taking out one SWAT member at a time, intercepting the structure of the ground forces. It causes so much chaos that Sato has enough time to manifest, and well, it's showdown. I would like to make a quick side note on how the special forces could have avoided this. When they came up with their plan, they did not consider that Sato is possibly aware of that weakness too, preventing an Ajin from healing, I mean. First of all, Sato is an Ajin veteran. He has shown his capabilities more than once. It is very clear that he is the real OG when we talk about Ajin, so underestimating him is a death sentence on its own. Sato's attack was announced days ahead. It would have been easy to prepare additional tactics to prevent any interference. Scouting all nearby rooftops would have been an easy challenge to solve. If the special forces had snipers to support the ground team, this would have never happened. Also, knowing that you are going to fight an Ajin, you want to have multiple layers of attack. Where was the air support, the evacuation of the citizens around, backup teams, and so forth?
20日後の午後8時までに東京都を明け渡し
At the same time, Nagai and his sister were detected by Citizen. They had to escape their hideout. If they were more careful with their privacy, this could have been avoided. At this point, the walls are closing in. The public gets increasingly hostile towards Ajin. This is the last moment you have to make a lasting decision. What would you do? Disappear for good or enter the fight? I would utilize my ghost to get a lot of money quickly, because if you get a lot of money quickly, you can get far away quickly. Money buys you everything: identity, security, comfort, just about all you need at this moment. And having a ghost that is literally an invisible ally that you control, I don't see the problem here. One thing is clear: your sister is exposed and mortal, so whatever you do, she must be your first priority. Nagai makes the third best decision. Instead of robbing a bank and buying 2 first-class tickets to the Cook Islands, he teams up with Mr. Tosaki. I guess it's, once again, if you can't beat him, join him. As long as Mr. Sato and his fellows are around, Nagai and his sister aren't safe. Perhaps not even on a Pacific island. Teaming up with a former enemy is risky. As an Ajin, you're definitely stronger, but as we have seen in Mr. Sato's case, an Ajin can be fought with great precision. What do you do in case they capture you after Sato's death? And what do you do in case each one of your new allies is killed? What about your sister? There are so many questions you better try to answer first. So what we do need at this point are backup plans. Here's a tip. When you meet with the government to discuss the strategy, take note of each member. Who are they? What are their names? In this position, it shouldn't be a big challenge to figure out. Keep this information somewhere safe. If this government tries to screw you over, you have the means to counterattack by taking any of them or their family members hostage. Trust is important, but security much better. Don't forget that you are completely on your own. If they try to backstab you, there is no one left who would free you, since it was Sato that ventured out to free you. If you end up as an experiment again, it might be for much longer than just 20 years. Therefore, you would do well to have an ace up your sleeve. Another important thing to make sure is who will take care of your sister in case of your death. As an immortal soldier, you're in a pretty good spot to make good deals. I wouldn't agree to anything less than a few $1 million and a lifetime security for her. Mr. Sato's plan is to steal a poisonous gas bomb. The gas was developed through experiments performed on himself. Call me sick, but I sympathize more with Mr. Sato than with the humans. The sheer agony he had to go through for 20 years, it just leaves you speechless. They created a monster and now they have to deal with it. I guess that's how it goes. The bomb he wants to steal is located in a secure building on the 49th floor. If Sato and his team want it, they have to come and get it. It is always better to defend than attack. If you defend, you're likely to know the area perfectly, and so setting up traps is easy, especially when you know what the enemy is coming for. Sato's team enters the building like Neo and Trinity in a second Matrix movie. One of them has already hacked the network to send out decoy signals so the squad can move forward quickly. When they proceed, they end up in a battle with a surprise in it. They sure seem to be enjoying themselves. They kind of remind me of my San Andreas times after having used the infinite health cheat. A lot of fun for the first 30 minutes, but just boring thereafter. I wonder how they feel, but I guess it's real life, so it probably takes a bit longer than 30 minutes to get bored. Nagai hid in his room, pretending to be dead. When all of them moved forward, he manifested again and sent out his ghost after having realized Mr. Sato isn't there. Now, this is where stuff gets interesting. The trap Nagai and his team have prepared is pretty slick and outside the box thinking. When Tanaka and his team arrive at the targeted location, Nagai positions himself in front of the ventilator system. He releases his black matter particles, and the ventilator transports them into the room where Tanaka and his team are located, completely obstructing their view. Invisible black matter, also called IBM particles, are, as the name suggests, invisible to non-Ajin. To Ajin, well, it looks like this right here. While they're completely blinded, Nagai's team has no problem shooting them down with multiple narcotics at once. I think this plan is pretty well thought through. However, I would have done it slightly different. Using Nagai's IBM particles to obstruct their view is genius, but having men stationed there to shoot them down with narcotics is not the best way to go. The best way would have been to close them in, and alongside Nagai's IBM, spread sleeping gas too. This would have done the job without risking the lives of mortal men. Mr. Sato is visiting a pellets factory. No, I don't think he's looking for a new business venture option, but instead he had a plan. Well, have a look for yourself.
ちゃった。
What is worse than facing John Wick? Immortal John Wick, of course. Yes, this was possibly the best scene in this movie, hands down. But if you do consider the plot closely, you will find a hole here. So Mr. Sato used the Ajin attribute to regenerate from the biggest piece of flesh left after his death. But how in the world did nobody from the government consider that possibility? If the government experimented on several Ajin bodies for combined decades, there is no way they didn't know how Ajin manifestation works. It's hard to believe that such a basic Ajin skill was overlooked. Had they flooded the room with sleeping gas agent, this would have been prevented. But in all honesty, I didn't mind seeing Bruce Wick in action. That was a nice treat. In the following scene, Mr. Sato and Tanaka are able to capture the bomb. How come this bomb is still in this building? That doesn't make much sense. If I knew that an attack is being planned to capture something in my possession, I wouldn't hesitate to relocate that item. Nagai and his team focus way too much on capturing the enemy instead of also focusing on keeping that bomb out of their hands. The tables are turned. If we want to win this battle, we need to attack. Mr. Sato could have easily escaped with the bomb and start the attack on Tokyo a few days later, but he stayed back, proving that he doesn't really care about Ajin acceptance within society. All he wants is his revenge, and again, I completely understand. Here we are again. How do we kill something that can't be killed? Knowing that Ajin manifest themselves back from the biggest remaining piece of flesh, one might cut off a limb, throw it into a pool of cement, and put the remaining body through a wood shredder, just like Mr. Sato did before. If you can't beat something completely, just do what you can. In the end, Mr. Sato was frozen with liquid nitrogen and shot into 1,000 pieces. That's one way to finish the job, I guess. Nagai, on the other hand, cut off his hand beforehand, so according to Ajin law, he will be back in a quick second. If you had to fight an Ajin, being human or not, how would you proceed?